All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to the Altered States Unplugged podcast. We have a special guest here today. This is actually our first installment of our experts series. So we're bringing the experts on. You're not going to have to listen to JoJo and I rant to you for a half hour, 45 minutes. But no, we're really excited for this guest. Has helped me out in understanding a lot about red lights. So this is going to be about red lights. Specifically, the guest here has a ton of information. He's a wealth of knowledge in the whole wellness space. He's done pretty much a little bit of everything. Today, we have Robin Kuehne on the phone with us. And Robin is the visionary founder of Neoscience. He is a seasoned industry veteran boasting over 15 years of experience. His journey began with pioneering cryotherapy. So he's seen the evolution of some things in the United States. The NeoBed is one of the company's best-selling devices today, and it continues to disrupt the red light therapy industry. Robin, did I leave anything out there?
That was better than anyone could have done. Thank you.
Very impressive, very impressive. So, all right, Robin, you've been in the industry for a long time, like I said before. How did you get started?
Yeah, I'll try to keep this one short because the origin story is a long one. But we knew cryotherapy from living in Germany. I moved to the States when I was 19. And at some point after a snowboarding accident, we were trying to find a treatment here in the US and couldn't find cryotherapy. And my brother, who was a physician at the time, he had seen the treatments and we literally couldn't find anything anywhere. So we then decided, what would it take to bring a machine over? It was really like a fluke of an idea kind of thing. And we reached out to German companies that we knew and brought a cryo chamber to our living room in Los Angeles in Hancock Park to our duplex area. And then we were like, okay, now how do we get liquid nitrogen? Didn't think the whole thing through. We bought this machine at a great price and we had it now. And now we had to figure out how to actually make it run. Fast forward is we met people that were familiar with cryo and had interesting connections, and a massage therapist claimed that he knew Kobe Bryant. And we challenged him. We said, why don't you bring Mr. Bryant to our living room to freeze if you're so connected? He was drunk half the time, so I didn't take him seriously. But he actually showed up with Kobe Bryant one day.
Really?
Wow.
Because Kobe knew cryo from Europe. He played in Italy.
Right.
He played basketball. And so when he told him that there was a machine, he was excited. He came up all the way from Orange County, which was a long drive for him. And so we thought, now we got it made. We're going to be super famous for Kobe Bryant freezing, but we weren't allowed to do it. So that's how it started. Kobe never told anybody about this until he leaked it at some point to one of his friends, who then brought an entire basketball team from Chicago to us. Long story short is, so we knew we were onto something. But now we couldn't be in our duplex in our living room anymore. So we had to find a location. And so we had no budget. So we tried to find a basketball team to buy a machine from us. So I became a machine seller at that point already because we needed money to start a retail store. We sold the machine to the LA Clippers. And with that budget, we were able to sign a lease for our first retail store called Cryo Healthcare. And it's still in business today. Wow. So that was the very early stages of cryo coming to the US and me getting very much into the wellness world.
So cool.
Yeah, Kobe was notorious for doing things and having little secret weapons, I heard.
Yeah. He did the PRP before anyone.
Yes.
Like Germany foot as well.
Yeah. Yeah. His dad, he lived in Italy for a while, I guess. His dad played ball there and he grew up throughout the whole thing. So it's neat to see how all of this transitions to, we're always latest to the game.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. It's
That's
pretty
so
funny.
Cool.
Well, we latest to the game, but once it hits here, it goes big.
It explodes.
Wide.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about red light therapy. How did you pivot into that space?
Great question. So we were at that. So fast forward 5, 6, 7 years, we became one of the biggest distributors for cryotherapy equipment. And at the time Novathor came out, the basketball teams that we would install cryo chambers for had these Novathor red light beds. And I had no idea what this was. It looked like a tanning bed to me, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so customers would always ask me when they bought a cryo machine, hey, in my wellness center, I want to do more. What else can I offer? And I used to tell people like, hey, why don't you just get a cryo chamber? A red light bed. I heard Novathor is great. And then they came back to me and said, Robin, that thing is $130,000. That's like 3 times as much as your cryo chambers. That I can't afford that. How am I going to get an ROI on this?
Yeah.
And this kept happening. People kept asking me. And so at some point, we're like, you know what? We need to get one of these. I want to see what's in them. Why are they so expensive? And no, I have huge respect for Novathor if they're listening. Best product ever at the time, and we learned a lot from them. But it was just too much. So we got one. We looked at it and we started designing. So that's how we got into the Neolight bed.
Nice.
We really just try to find a solution that's more affordable for customer, and that's kind of the whole philosophy at Neoscience. We want to have devices for people that are effective but don't break the bank, because we want to help our customers, but the business owners can't help customers if they don't make money, right? So everybody has to kind of get a piece of this puzzle worked out. And so anyway, so we try to make a product for a more affordable price, and Neolight bed is not cheap, obviously, but it is definitely less than half the price of an Novathor.
Right. And the other thing that I noticed too, since speaking with you, is just like the overall specs and how effective the lights are and how bright they are and the penetration that it gets. It outperforms the ones that cost double too. So it was something that I was like, okay, because at first you're like, yeah, it's a bed. Maybe there's different angles, but then as you and I have talked a lot, you've really kind of dug in and shown of like, why the heck is this, and you don't need to go in nearly as long as these other ones that cost 2-3 times the expense. So that's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
What so we see the red light kind of everywhere now, but what really is it and how does it work? What mechanism are we pulling here?
So, the mechanism of light therapy is affecting, for the most part, your mitochondria, right? And that's a big word you see everywhere now. There's the, supplements you can take, and mitochondria is in everybody's vocabulary now. If you listen to Gary Brecka,
yes, sir,
talk about mitochondria, and he'll say, the presence of oxygen is the absence of disease. Those are things you'll hear in every time he speaks.
Yeah.
So light therapy works. The end result of light therapy is similar to cryotherapy or cold therapy, right? It reduces inflammation, and that's why I love the two modalities combined so much. But the light therapy works by having certain light frequencies enter your body, right, through your skin, and just going through cells at different depths and different levels. And as they pass through the cells, what they do is, they basically force oxygen into your cell, and they kick out the oxidative component. So they kick out the waste, they force oxygen in the cell, and they speed up the rate at which your ATP is produced, so your energy of the cell is produced, a multiple. It goes up, like a factor of 4 plus. And so your cell basically is able to produce more energy. And all that means is that your cell can do things it's supposed to do more efficiently, whether it's replicating itself, renewing itself, getting rid of waste. So everything works on overdrive and works better. And so now if you look at your whole body as a picture, if my tissues and cells in every part of my body work better and more efficiently, you're going to get a whole body improvement, And I love when clients do red light therapy for pain, right? They're coming because they have back pain. Great. And it might not even work for the back pain sometimes, right? Because who knows, there might be surgery needed. But most people stick with red light because after doing it for a few weeks, they say, hey, wow, I sleep better. My mood has improved. Many people talk about their vision being better. People on thyroid medications usually have to take less medications. So there's so many benefits that come out of this that people just stick with it. So it's literally whole body improvements, and it's so simple.
It's incredible. We read stories all the time.
Yeah, we see it in the store all the time. It's, the fading out of scars. There's so many applicable uses to it, because you're right. It's the whole system.
That's what I think is the neatest thing about it, is there's so many use cases. You're not just targeting one thing, and it's cool.
Just gotta make sure you don't sound like a snake or salesperson.
I know.
Well, yeah,
it is good for so many things that I'm always holding back.
Right.
When
Right.
people ask me what is it good for?
Yeah.
Right. I try to focus on what they're looking for.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Let's measure that and then go from there. For sure. Sure.
I like it.
We see a lot now about green light and blue light popping up. If you could just kind of touch on that a little bit, what's the difference between the three? How do you use that within the NeoBed?
Gladly. And so if you notice on the NeoBed, we have different modes, right?
Right.
One looks red, and one mode looks green, and one mode looks kind of pink. So I leave the red off for now. The green mode is green light and the infrared light that's always also on. And the infrared light is what goes deep in the body and does all the magic I just mentioned, because that's penetrating deep. The visible light you see, whether it's red, green, or blue, really works more on the surface. And green and blue are both great for the aesthetics type applications. I guess I will mention red. Red is great for your skin and collagen, right? It helps with the anti-aging part. That's why people love red light therapy. The green light helps with has multiple effects. We call it the calm mode. So it has a calming overall effect on the body. And you notice that immediately when you turn on the green light, it's easier on your eyes. You go much more into a relaxed state. But the benefits on the skin is that green light inhibits the production of melanin, meaning the dark pigment, right? And people who see this a lot or have a problem with this frequently are people either exposed to the sun who get freckles, or number one group for me is women after pregnancy. You get hormone changes in the body, and there's this sensation of this effect called the mask of pregnancy, where you get like the dark spots around the eyes.
Yeah.
And the green light can inhibit this. Green light can block the production of melanin. And so basically it evens out the skin tone.
Wow.
And I didn't think this was a problem, by the way. I never intended to have green light and neolight. We wanted red and blue. And it was my wife at the time, after our first son was born, she had this little weird handheld thing from Amazon on her face. She's half Asian. She hated the dark spots. And I made fun of her. I was like, what is that? What a waste. What is that? And turns out I was wrong. It actually worked, and so that's how the green light ended up in neolight.
That's
because
awesome.
we have 3-in-1 LEDs and we had space for one more frequency. And so that's why we have red, green, and blue now.
Yeah.
And we have 3 infrared. And lastly, the blue is for acne. If you've ever seen people getting treated for acne, they use blue light a lot. Blue light kills bacteria. So similar to UV light without damaging your skin. That's why it's close. And it inhibits oil production in your skin. So think of a 15-year-old boy, teenage boy who's an athlete, right? They often struggle with, very oily skin and, lots of testosterone going on in the body and get pimples. And it can really help offset that. And at the time, there were only smaller devices. And we noticed in our wellness centers that kids would come in, or even women in their early 20s, and book 3 sessions of a Soluma, the small handheld device. And first we were like, why is she booking 3 sessions? It's way too much for your face. And it turns out they were treating their back, right? They were treating different areas. And that's how we came out with a red light bed should have a full body mode.
Yeah.
The blue. And we combine it with the red because the red's the healing frequency.
Right.
I love it. So awesome.
Awesome.
How often do people need to utilize these light therapies? I know sometimes we'll have a customer go use it once and they're like, oh, my skin's not perfect yet, and obviously we know it takes more than once, but what's the recommendation?
I'm a big fan of people committing to this for a month at least. And when I say a month, I mean, ideally I want them to do at least 10 sessions, possibly more. So I'm a big fan of kind of a membership unlimited model. I want people to take advantage of this.
Yeah.
Because that's how they're going to really notice measurable differences. And that's how they become raging fans of this technology.
Right.
Yeah.
But, so my least favorite customers, we start there, is the person who comes to me and says, hey, I want to buy a 10-pack of red light. I want to come every Wednesday for the next 10 weeks. Please don't.
Yeah.
Take those 10 treatments and use them up in 2 to 3 weeks. Right? That's the idea, because you really want to hit it hard. And that goes for many therapies, right?
Correct.
Therapy too. If you go cold plunge, you go once the cold plunge, it's not going to change your life,
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. And then you're going to really see noticeable differences. 10, 20 sessions would be great. People would come.
I love that. Yeah. That's why we have an unlimited red light, because it's like, come in, use it as much as possible. That's definitely the customers we see with the most benefits there.
Sure. Sure.
Cool. I like to ask questions, by the way, before you go into the next. So when you have your customers come in, they might not be aware of what the red light's doing for them, because they're also not active. So I often ask in our retail, so we ask people, so hey, Jojo, you've been coming here now for a few weeks. Have you noticed anything, for example, energy throughout the day, or are you sleeping better, or they often volunteer. Oh, I get comments on my skin. Like that's that one. But often they're not realizing, hey, you know what? Yeah, I do sleep better. Or hey, my Whoop or whatever wearable they have shows me the data has improved.
Yeah.
I encourage people to do this. Like before you start your regimen of red light, have one of those tracking devices and just get a baseline, and then do it a month and look at it again, and you'll be surprised.
Oh yeah.
Improves.
I love when people have that data. It's because incredible. Like we'll have people that come in for multiple sessions, red light, sauna, cold plunge, and they're bringing us, they're so excited. They're like, look at this data. I'm like, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a girl do with the cold plunge. Her whoop for sleep was just, it was like next to perfect. She was sleeping terrible and her whole sleep score, it changed her whole thing. So you're 100%. If any, and we talk a lot about this, but like having the data there to back it up is, it just takes away from that. Well, I'm feeling a little bit better. It's like, no, you can see the actual marketable, you could see it for sure.
But it takes consistency. Yeah. You don't get that. I know everybody wants the instant gratification, but yeah, consistency is key.
One more thing about data. Did you guys, not sure if you saw the post we did, but we did a company called NeuroCatch came to our office, and I was impressed by this device they had. They placed this thing on your head with these electrodes, and they measure your cognitive performance, how you process information.
Yeah.
And so we had them, I wore this thing, it's on Instagram, and they measured me before and after all of our modalities. And after one red light session, there was a statistically significant, the words of this scientist who came down, difference in how fast I process information.
Wow.
And that's just one session, so we work with organizations like the Alzheimer's Centers of America and different organizations. So cognitive improvement, reducing inflammation in the brain, processing information, I think that is huge.
Wow.
And that's often overlooked. And now we can finally get data because it's usually anecdotal, right? Or cognitive function is like you fill out a questionnaire.
Scale of 1 to 10. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's called the mini mental, where you like fill out something and it's having data is really great. And it's
that's so cool. I remember seeing that post, but now I'm going to go look at it.
They can also come to you, by the way. Like if you ever want to do a thing, like they can rent the machine, they can come in, and for your clients could be a wild experience.
Heck yeah. Oh yeah. We're all about that.
Doing a float or doing a cold plunge and then before and after.
Yes. Yeah, we love that.
Cool. All right. How do you see, I guess, the red light technology, the industry? How do you see it evolving? I guess, what's the future?
I mean, I'm hoping in this future for some regulation, because companies make outrageous claims about, hey, you use our red light bed and you're going to lose several inches of body.
I see that all the
because
time.
you can balance away the fat. And my take on that is that was true. When you guys get up from the red light bed, you'd have swollen ankles because all this fluid would be collecting by your ankles.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen, right? And I think I'm hoping for regulation because we spend so much effort to demonstrate the pure irradiance of our light bed, right? We measure whatever gets to you at the skin, where it enters your body, right? We try to stay significant, but we have some companies in the market that basically state 2 or 3 times the power of our light bed. But when you actually measure it, it's a fraction. It's literally like 20% of what we do. And I'm hoping for that. But I think red light is becoming a very established, modality now. I mean, you deal with hotels now, wellness centers, private people who can afford it. Obviously, neolight is not necessarily a consumer good. But we're noticing it becoming a thing. In hotels, they do it for people to recover from jet lag, right? They're traveling, right? So I think it's going to get more and more and more and accessible to more people, so what I'm hoping for, not just for my device in general, like people should have access to this.
Yeah.
And that's where I see it going, just becoming almost like a standard staple of a treatment. Yeah.
Yeah. You made a good point, about the regulation. So what should people kind of look out for? I mean, you don't have to name drop, don't use this brand, but what's kind of a not so good red light device versus
and how do you guys, I know this, but how do you guys how is the Neo bed different too? That's the other thing. For me, it's the modes. That's an absolute game changer for me in having the ability, but please touch on that.
So how nearby is different? I mean, first, we have the different colors and different modes. We also have 3 infrared frequencies that all penetrate to different depth into your body. Right? A lot of red light devices have red, let's say 660, and infrared 850 frequency. For some listeners, this doesn't mean anything, right? But it's just a light frequency. Now, when I bombard you with infrared light at 850, it's going to penetrate your body to a certain depth, and then it stops. That's how far it can get. But all of us on this talk right now, we have different bodies, right? So it would reach different depth for all of us. So what we basically did is we have 3 frequencies, kind of taking a shotgun approach, right? I hit you with multiple frequencies at a higher chance of penetrating your whole body because I want to reach your organs. I want to reach your skin. I want to reach your bones. I want to reach whatever I can. And what's a bad device? I think you would have to measure them, and I've started doing that. I've been going to competitors and ordering random things on Amazon. Like I just became a bit obsessed. Like I've returned so many things on Amazon because I have friends calling me like, hey, I want to buy this face mask. Is this good? And I'm like, I don't know until we put a light meter on it and see, is it the actual frequency and is it the penetration that they claim? So beware of claims is what I can say to people. Like, most companies overstate. You can buy what's called a solar meter for probably $50 or $100 on Amazon that measures light intensity. Having said that, a solar meter is not a scientific device. So you have to basically cut whatever you measure in half. That's kind of the closest to an accurate reading you can get. Don't believe what everybody says, and look for for example, our product is FDA registered and it's actually, and it's UL's tested for safety. So look for certifications. Everybody puts FDA all over their products. Every Chinese company has huge FDA logos on their products. But it doesn't really mean that much.
Yeah.
And side note of that, I did FDA and they never actually verified my statements of irradiance.
Yeah.
So we show it, but it was not a required test. So even with the FDA, if somebody did it, it's very, very hard to trust. So if you use a home device, spend longer time with it than it's advertised, because odds are it's not as powerful. You can't really overdo it. It's very hard to overdose on light. But if it says to use it for 10, 15 minutes, I would probably say use it for half an hour.
Yeah.
And I always stay close to the light source. That's why Neolight has a canopy that doesn't go so high above your body, right? We want you sandwiched in there to be close to the lights, because with every inch I'm away from the light source, the weaker the bed gets exponentially. So if I'm like 3 feet from a light source, like you've seen Instagram, probably people, a hot model posing with weights in front of a red light panel that's 3 feet away. That person looks cool in the picture, but gets zero benefit from the light.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to be closer. So stay longer, get closer, and there's technically no bad red light, because as long as the frequency is the right one, you'll get something out of it.
Good.
So,
and you said something that resonated with me when we talked a couple months ago was like, you talk about how, a lot of these other companies will measure the frequency at the bulb, but not at the acrylic. So there's like a gap for those of you guys that don't know that you have the bulbs and then what you lay on is the actual clear acrylic. So what they go and they actually, so all the measure, you want to make sure like they take them from different, there's no, and like he's touched on like these standards, like they're not measuring it at the acrylic. So it doesn't matter if it's sitting 4 inches under that acrylic, like it's not, that's not the measurement. Yeah.
It measures where you are. Just to give you 2 numbers for our device. If I put a light meter on my LED, it shows me about 187 milliwatts per centimeter squared is the unit, 187. When I'm laying 4 inches away on a thick acrylic, and it's thick so it can support, a lot of weight, the irradiance entering my body is 54.
Right.
So going from 187 to 54. Right, on that short distance. And that's how the property of light is. So if you have a device that's much weaker, you probably have to spend an hour on this thing. So
love it.
I love it.
Interesting. Are there any negative side effects to red light therapy that we know of?
No contraindications. Of course, anybody who's pregnant is not allowed to do anything. Like your fun stops there. You can't. So my wife can tell you about that. But no, there's no negative effects. Very few people who have issues with melasma are worried about doing hot treatments. You've probably seen this in your saunas as well, right?
Yeah.
And people always worry about the red light. Now, the funny thing is we can offset the melasma. So I would say if you have melasma, use the calm mode on Neolight. You still get the infrared light penetrating the body, and the green light will help you offset the melasma. But otherwise, there's no contraindications that's like, very, that there's pose a big risk, which is what I love about light therapy, by the way. In the cryo chamber, I can burn somebody, right? I mean, so many things that can go wrong in some of these modalities. Light is extremely safe. We're taking basically the sunlight, we cut out all the harmful frequencies, and we just give you a concentrated dose of the good stuff. That's in a nutshell what the light bed is, right? So so nobody's allergic to sunlight, hopefully. There's few people actually, but so anybody can do red light, and it's also great for young, old people. It's hard to overdose, almost impossible. So
love it.
Cool.
That's awesome.
All right, just kind of wrapping up, really appreciate you coming on with us. But just to end it, what, What advice would you have for someone just kind of starting their wellness journey is regarding red light, and honestly, anything that, you're kind of an OG to this game, just anything in general?
I mean, all of us can reduce inflammation. I think we're all walking around quite inflamed from the environment, and I live in LA, right? Polluted city. I eat organic food, but there's a lot of toxins. So I think doing red light, somebody asked, let me put it this way. Somebody asked me the other day if I had to do one thing for the rest of my life only, I can't, cryo, red light, whatever, all the devices we have, which one would I choose? And it was really hard for me because I'm a cryo person.
Right.
Yeah.
But I said red light. I said I would do this because by being able to reduce the inflammation in your whole body and improving all of my cells, the effect on my overall health span and longevity is probably the biggest impact. Right? Mitochondrial health is key, and you can just type that into ChatGPT, right?
Right.
And so I think for somebody starting their journey, don't waste your money on things that, for example, don't spend a ton of money on hyperbaric treatments unless you do a whole series. Don't do hyperbaric once a week or once a month. It's a waste of money. You have to know what you need to do and how frequently you need to do it.
Yeah.
I think, the cold plunges, you can have an easy regimen, right? The saunas, detoxing, the red light, do things that work and focus on one or two modalities. So, you notice a change before you add more.
Yeah.
That's another thing, right? If you jump in, do all the services. I love that. And on one end, on the other end, you don't know what works for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Help us on that. Yeah. That's kind of probably the best I can think of.
No, that's awesome. That's good.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep it simple and do something frequently and really pay attention, what it does.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And everybody get more sleep, please. I'm the worst. I took my watch off because this morning it annoyed me so much.
I stopped at that, man. I couldn't. I was like, yes, I know I didn't recover well. I can feel it. Thank you. Yeah. It was years ago. I was like, yeah, I know. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, for sure.
I clapped at me for consistency, but for consistency at being at 70% of sleep.
Yeah. No,
I love that.
No, good.
Well, thank you so much, Robin. Your
thanks, bud.
expertise has been phenomenal. We love working with you. You will see some Neo light beds coming to some Altered States Wellness locations soon. So you'll get to try it yourself, and we're excited about the partnership.